what was it that inspired Tech Life Steph? Because that is the space that's your lane. That's your shit. And what was it about that jumped out and you found, okay, this is it for me? Like for me, I knew that if I was going to go into media, I was either going to cover something dealing with sports or something dealing with a social issue. And in this case, this podcast has kind of leaped across both of those lines all the time. What was it about the tech life aspect of it, where between technology, we're talking about internet, we're talking about social media, all these different things? Why was it that was the thing that really jumped out to you more than anything else?
It wasn't me again. It was God. God and a mentor. At the time, I was reporting traffic for a network called Tango, which was it was a startup that was trying to be like the Weather Channel for traffic. So it was a 24-hour traffic network. I was reporting on air, the drive time, commute. And so, thinking I'm going to do these entertainment reporting things. And I was able to get a meeting with Payne Brown, who was the vice president of diversity, I believe, at Comcast at the time. I had been trying to get a meeting with this brother for like a year, and I knew people that knew him, and folks was trying to be real stingy with the connect and the whole nine.
That's how it always goes.
Always. And but I can't remember how I actually finally got connected to him, but I got on his calendar and I had this meeting with him. And at the time, I believe Comcast owned some percentage of TV One. At the time, I think Kathy Hughes has since bought that back and owns it outright herself now. But at the time, if I'm not mistaken, Comcast owned some percentage of TV One and was very invested in some of their programming. And there was a show on TV One called TV One Access, which was like Access Hollywood, but all of the black celebrities, a focus on black celebrities and things like that. And Sean Robinson, who hosted Access Hollywood, also hosted TV One Access. And I set my intention when I got this meeting with Payne to be the host of TV One Access, or at least a correspondent for the show. I was like, Sean doesn't need to be greedy. She doesn't need to take all the jobs. Like, she can do Access Hollywood, I can do TV One Access. So got this meeting, went out, bought this outfit. When I tell you, oh my God, this outfit. Just the dress was like fucking sausage casing, and I had this wig on, and just the hair and makeup and the lashes and just this whole costume. Basically, it was January. I'll never forget it. It was January. I was freezing because I did not have any stockings on, and the suede shoes I bought, which were fabulous, and they were the only shoes that went with this dress, were a half size too small, but I didn't care because they were the shoes that needed to happen with this dress to make this man love me. This man was going to love me and put me on TV. He was going to be so overwhelmed by my talent and my beauty and my intelligence and the full package. And I'm walking up into his office, ready to kick in the door and just wow him, beyond his wildest dreams. So get to Comcast, get to this meeting, walk in, hi, I'm Stephanie Humphrey, wig, makeup, the whole nine, lashes. And I said, he's like, oh, tell me a little bit about yourself. And I'm like, well, I was an engineer, but now I want to be an entertainer. So I launch into this whole thing. And he's sitting there, on some Kanye, I'm going to let you finish. Mm-hmm. And so he lets me finish. And he's like, yeah, the silence just like that. And I'm sitting there like, hello, Bueller. And he's like, what are you doing? And I was like, my bottom lip starts quivering. I'm like, I ain't gonna cry in front of this man. I'm not gonna cry.
Not gonna break you.
He's not gonna break me. I said, I don't understand what you mean. He said, what are you doing? Like, with such disdain in his voice and on his face. And I'm like, I don't know what you mean. And he said, you walked in here, you mentioned you were an engineer in passing, and you haven't talked about it again. He said, what are you doing? I was like, I still don't know what you mean. Honestly, I was like, I don't know.
Like, tell me.
Right. He said, I know a million pretty girls that want to be entertainment reporters. He said, I don't know anybody that looks like you that could do what you could be doing. He said, what are you doing? And God right hand to God, I said, I could be a tech life expert. Literally. That's all I said. And he was like, and Tech Life Steph was born.
Well, damn.
Seriously. It literally happened just like that. I was like, oh, snap. I could do technology on TV. Like it just all, God put the entire vision in front of me in that moment. In that moment, I said, I could be the technology correspondent for the Today Show. Because at the time, I watched the Today Show all the time. I didn't really watch GMA back then. I loved the Today Show, though. I was like, I could be the technology correspondent for the Today Show. Literally, in that moment. This was 10 years ago. And that's been the goal since the beginning. And that was the goal up till now that I'm doing it, you know?
So 10 years ago, 2000, wow, it's still crazy. It's 2011, so it's 9 years. It's still wild to say that 2011 was that long ago, but 9 years ago, you have this epiphany, just this moment where it's just like, oh shit, I can do this, and you got to work on doing it. Yeah. And I see the 60-second videos. Like I said earlier, I can't do shit in 60 seconds. I can't order food. I can barely say my damn name in 60 seconds. You're able to get that much information into it. Where did the idea to do it in 60 seconds come from, first and foremost?
My own non-existent attention span. I think about the idea, everybody's, oh my God, YouTube is where it's at. And honestly, I can't even watch a YouTube video if it's longer than like 2.5 minutes. I don't want to watch it. It has to be super engaging to make me sit and be like, oh wow, yeah, your life is so interesting to me. I want to know more about this thing. So just understanding attention spans, not wanting to overtax myself content-wise, because shooting videos is work, and the longer the video is, the more work you got to do. So I didn't want to overtax myself with what I was doing, and I was also being a little bit strategic because I was specifically trying to grow my Instagram following. And Instagram didn't have IGTV when I started the videos, so the video time was limited to 60 seconds.
And it is interesting when you bring that up, because IGTV has become, that's like a secondary conduit for like this podcast, for example, because you mentioned like the attention spans on YouTube, where at one time YouTube's limit was, I think, 10 minutes or 12 minutes on videos or something like that. Now they can go for hours on end, but
you're droning on about nonsense. Ain't nobody got time for that.
You have to have something very compelling to hook me for more than 10 minutes on YouTube. And when I think about that, your 60 seconds falls right in there in that 60-second window on Instagram. People can scroll their timeline and get what they're looking for from you in 60 seconds. If you had to go a little longer, there's IGTV, which I guess, like I said, for this podcast, I take in like usually 7 to 12 minute cuts of interviews and put them on there, rather than just simply I can't do a long form 1 hour thing, because a lot of times people don't have time for that, like you mentioned. And you find that lane, and little by little more things start to come together, because you have a great speaking voice. I say this as someone walking around with these pipes of mine. You have a great speaking voice, and I know you're very engaging because you're very real. Like it comes off of you in the room that you're very genuine. What was for you, what was that moment where you could kind of tell, like, okay, now I'm starting to gain some traction doing this, where people are really into what I have to say?
I would say it was a while ago. I kind of knew where this was going, but the path, 60-second tech break is only about 2 years old. But when I first started with my own blog called A Matter of Life in Tech. And, you get to that point where, people start sending you stuff and they want you to review their stuff. And you're like, oh, snap, I'm getting a little bit of, notoriety. But then I started writing for theroot.com and ebony.com and a couple features in the magazine and things like that. And then I was able to parlay that onto Fox 29. And that was sort of when I saw the big picture coming together, because I was on there every week. It was like Tech Tuesday was a thing for a year and a half on Fox. And And that really helped, sort of catapult me to that next level. That's kind of when I knew, like, all right, this tech life thing is a thing, it's a real thing, is a sustainable thing, and it's something that I can sort of parlay and make a living from, as well as help people understand technology with.
What was maybe the most difficult thing about this transition that you kind of made into this, especially since you had the epiphany in the office that, oh shit, this is what I can do. What was the tough part about floating over into this space?
Well, it's funny. It was on some old Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? kind of stuff. Because when I made the decision to take this pivot, I just kind of automatically assumed the world would be the path to my door. Because I had, at that point, already had like almost 10 years of media experience reporting traffic on TV, I did do some red carpet interviews for some media outlets. I was on QVC. I was doing all the things media wise to prepare myself to stand and to be in front of a camera and talk to people about things. And, oh, by the way, I got 2 engineering degrees. So the idea that I could position myself as a tech expert seemed like a no-brainer to me. It was not that way. Nobody gave a about what other experience that I had in the tech space.